And welcome to part 3 of my Intro to World of Warcraft series. So now we are going to be going over the remaining classes from the choices that you have. So let's go ahead and get right on into it. The next one we're going to go over is the Druid. So we're going to go over here to the Torrent. Oh, no, that's this one. So the Druid is actually really cool. They can kind of tank, they can heal, and they can kind of do damage. So let me just illustrate. So leveling up, they'll be fine to tank, to deal damage, and to heal. You threw out from like 1 to 59. At level 60, it kind of shifts. Basically, you'll just be healing at level 60 if you want to do the raids and the very high-end content, end-game content. They have a lot of cool abilities. They're able to shift their form. So pretty early on, they can shift into a bear who has attacks, and that's how you tank. You can shift into a cat, which has a lot of abilities like the rogue. They have a travel form, which lets them go very fast. They're very diverse. Like, they're called a hybrid class because they can technically do all three. Leveling, they're great at all of it, as long as you kind of specialize in that. Really, really strong choice. Average leveling, it's just pretty much middle of the road for all of it. They're very strong. They're reliable. Druid is a solid choice if you kind of want to be the do everything guy. Alright, now let's go on to what I'm leveling as, a Mage. So, Mages are going to be the highest ranged damage class in the game. I mean, give or take. They're going to be doing a lot of damage. They're very strong. They're very good at controlling the battlefield. They're good at staying away from damage, using like tricks and magical means to kind of. It's a very hard class to master, but a pretty easy class to play. Most of the time, you're just sitting there casting 1 or 2 spells all the time. Pretty good at leveling. Pretty good at leveling alone. If you're good at them, they actually can go a little bit faster than the hunter in multiple areas through specific hard to master means. But mages are very strong. I like them a lot. They're great. They can only do damage, but it's damage from afar. Just like the hunter, I don't think I mentioned that. The hunter is generally going to be really far away, shooting with the bow. The mage is going to be far away, casting spells. That's going to lead us into the warlock, which is very similar to the mage, but it's more of a darker. Like, you have like shadow bolt instead of like frostbolt and fireball. You have shadow bolt, and they really specialize in 2 things. One is they have demons that they can summon, which is much like the hunter pets, which can tank, can deal damage, can help buff people. Overall, really good. Really, really easy to level. Easy to not die. You have a lot of really good tools to keep going and never have to stop. Very strong. Pretty darn close to the hunters, but hunters are still going to do it a little bit better. But they're just a lot like mages with like a dark side. And the other thing that they do, which I kind of already mentioned, was they put on dots, which is damage over time. So basically, you put on a bunch of spells, and it just keeps like hurting them every like 3 seconds or whatever it is. It'll deal more damage, deal more damage, deal more damage. So you can go and like put them on like a bunch of different guys and have them all like die after a little while. So very cool. That I played a warlock, as there are going to be usually a lot less warlocks than there are mages, so it's easier to get things like loot. They have some really annoying things to play. It's annoying to play as one. It's great to have one on your team, so they can summon people, so take them from anywhere in the world and bring them to themselves, which is great. It's fantastic. The only problem is that means every single time you're doing something, you have to run to the instance and bring the people to you. So you can never be lazy, but your allies can. So it's really like kind of a give or take. And these are real broad strokes that I'm telling you guys about. Each class has so many in-depth things that we can go over in a different video. Alright, so I'm actually a bit embarrassed because I completely forgot about the priest. So the priest is actually a really cool class in Classic. It is known as the top healer, but really don't think of it. Don't pick it just because you want to be the top endgame healer. But they're very good. They have 2 talent trees for healing and then 1 for dealing damage. really, there may be one for damage dealing in the end game, but it's not a lot. I will say, as being a priest, it is very, very difficult to level. Right above warrior, so you probably have a little bit of an easier time, but get used to wanding. Make sure you go into the wand specialization in your talents, because it's going to take you a long time. So leveling it takes a long time. Doesn't take that much to master them, I think, but of course, it's not easy. And then the end game, like I said, they are classified as the top healer. So really, really solid. One of the biggest and quite frankly the coolest things about this is that it changes. You get different abilities based on which race you pick. So like undead, trolls, dwarves get like 2 abilities each, 1 or 2, and it varies depending on which race you pick. The dwarf one is really the only one that stands out above the rest. They get something called Fear Ward, which is incredibly helpful for raiding, which is another reason why Alliance is a bit stronger, is because of this specific ability. So, yeah, priests are really cool, really fun, and enjoy. All right, so now here is another kind of a big thing when deciding Horde or Alliance. And that is, we will go here, the Shaman versus the Paladin. So, in Classic, Paladins can only be on Alliance, and Shamans can only be on Horde. Overall, they're both pretty similar. They kind of they're close enough to be related, but really they're not super close. So let's go over the Paladin first. The Paladin can tank, can damage, and can heal. In the very end game, you're only going to be healing. But throughout that leveling, level 1 through 59, you can really do any of the 3 that you wish. But again, 60, you're going to be doing healing, and that's just kind of the way it is, because they're not that great at damage. They're not that great at tanking when compared to the other classes. Doesn't mean you can't. It does not mean you can't, but it's generally what happens. They have really cool effects. They have things, pretty much the thing that shows what they do is they have like a bubble, is what you call it. So it makes them immune to everything. Damage, stuns, you just can't interact with them. One of the cool things that they have is they can throw up a bubble, and they can use a thing called a Hearthstone, which teleports you to one place. You can use it once an hour. Basically, if you're in trouble, you throw up your bubble, you click your Hearthstone, and before you can even be interacted with, you're already gone. So really safe class, really easy to level. A lot of people really like Paladins. They are a lot of fun. That's one thing I haven't had a lot of experience in, being a Horde player mostly. But I've fought against Paladins. Paladins are overall, generally, people generally say they're stronger than the Shamans in the end game. So that's one of the reasons why Alliance have a little bit of an edge when it comes to the end game. But we're going to go over to the Shaman. I love my Shamans. The Shaman, I think, was my 3rd or 4th character. Shamans are a lot of fun. They're great. They can damage. They can do DPS, which is damage per second. Hopefully, I said that. Or you can heal. You can't really tank. I mean, you can do it for funsies, but it's not going to be good. But, it's a game. Just have fun. If you want to do it, do it. There are ways you can get around to doing that. But they're damage dealers and healers. Their damage dealing is overall kind of weak. In the end game, you're going to be healing, which I personally love healing, so that's okay. But they're really all about totems and the earth, so they have an ability that they can summon different totems, which do different things, which are very helpful to the raid. So the Paladins have buffs and things that they can put on. The Shamans have totems that can help out. So that's really the big difference between the two. Overall, the Shamans are spellcasters, and they can also deal damage up front in melee. So they're really diverse, actually. They can do a lot of things, kind of like the Druids, but they're not as diverse as the Druids. Hopefully that makes sense. That was a lot of information. Oh my gosh. So I'll just go over real quick, big picture here. Warrior, really hard to level, really good end game. Up front, they can tank and DPS. Rogue, pretty easy leveling, really good end game. can only do DPS, and the problem with them is there's going to be a lot of rogues. Hunter, very solid DPS, ranged. Oh, well, there we go. Got disconnected from the server. All right, so Hunter has really good leveling, very easy, very strong. Decent endgame. You're always going to be doing damage from afar. You have a pet. Really cool. They can only damage, though. Druid, you can damage, tank, and heal. Pretty decent leveling, not very fast, but pretty consistent. You have a lot of fun tools. You can do a lot of different things. Mage, good, very strong damage from afar. Very weak if you're getting hit, but usually you hopefully are not getting hit. They can only deal damage. Warlock, pretty much the same thing as the Mage. You have a few other cool tools. Mages have some other tools we'll get into as well. Shamans, you can heal and do damage. You can do damage from ranged and up close. Overall, pretty decent leveling experience, pretty manageable. Endgame, mostly healing. Then Paladins, very same thing, basically the exact same thing as the Shamans, except they can only deal damage up front, much like a warrior. And then last but not least, we have the Priest, who's really hard to level, is pretty much going to be a lot of healing, but is really fun in the end game and has a lot of utility and a lot of desire. So that has been a lot of information. Hopefully I've helped you guys out. If you're really asking, like, there is no bad choice. There's no bad choice. So the real truth that I'm going to tell you guys is it doesn't matter. Don't worry about what happens at level 60. Don't worry about what happens in the end game. Don't worry about how difficult the leveling is. Pick which one seems the most interesting to you. The names are pretty self-explanatory. Just clicking through. Pick something that seems fun to you, and you can make it work. There is a really good person out there in YouTube with videos on every single one of these. No matter who you pick, as long as you play it well, you will do great. Unless you want to be that top 1%, just pick what's fun. And here's the thing, you can always restart. You can always have multiple characters. You can try it. If you don't like it, switch. Don't worry too much. Don't rush yourself to 60. Enjoy the game, and don't feel like you have to just stick with one option. But pick one that seems the most fun, and I promise you, I've gone through this list 1,000 times. There isn't a good or a wrong choice. You know, they're all good. You know, you can't go wrong with any of them. They're all fun. So hopefully I've been a little bit of help. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click the link below. Join me on my Twitch. I'll hopefully be streaming at twitch.tv/Geoswarp. Join us in the Discord. Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day. And I really hope you guys enjoy World of Warcraft Classic. Let me know in the comments below if this was helpful. And if you guys have anything, just let me know and I will try to answer them in a future video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.